Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. This session focuses on social media and sociolinguistics. Well, my dear students, I hope and expect by the end of this session you would be able to understand the impact and influence of social media on sociolinguistics and its development as a discipline. Well, I'm sure you know what sociolinguistics is. It is the study of the relationship of language and society. And in fact, sociolinguistics studies how language serves and is shaped by the social nature of human beings. In its broadest sense or conception, sociolinguistics thus analyzes the many and diverse ways in which language and society intertwine. How do they interlink with each other? Now, when we talk of social media, because it has a huge influence on the society, the ways of society are affected by that. The norms of the society, as we know, they always keep on changing. And because of the impact of social media, there have been huge changes in the ways of the societies, in the perspectives of the societies, and in the practices, social practices, both linguistic and non-linguistic of the societies. So, in the current times, the definition of sociolinguistics has also undergone some change because of this strong influence of media and especially of social media. Because sociolinguistics is the study of the relationship of society and language, and it sees how society influences language or has an impact on language. Now, if the society and the societal practices are changing, because of this huge impact of media, and media itself is becoming a huge part of these social norms that, or the social ways of doing things of a society. Of course, then the impact on language is also changing. So in order to cater for these changes and in order to examine and investigate these influences, the discipline of sociolinguistics, it has broadened, it has expanded its boundaries, and today it encompasses the study of all this. In fact, my dear students, when we focus on media for a while and we think of new media, actually the term is used in different ways. It is used as social media, as new media, as digital media, etc. And, if we look at the perspectives of different linguists and sociolinguistics on that, I'm going to share here the viewpoint of Liverow and Livingstone, who focus on, this whole process of, use of media as, focus on the message, that is the communication and its practice, the technology, that is the medium, and the social context in which it is used or it deals with. So, according to them, there are three important aspects of, if one wants to study, in sociolinguistics, one wants to study the impact of this new media on the language, how it is used in the society. One aspect is the focus on the message. One has to focus on the message. What is the message? What is the communication? What is it that is conveyed? And then what are the ways of conveying it? What are the practices related to that? In what ways it is communicated? For example, what kind of language is used, which language is used, which kind of language is used, which form, written or spoken, is used, which variety of language, a dialect or a standard language, is used. Then at different levels of a language, for example, pronunciation, syntax, orthography, semantics, etc. And also on the pragmatic levels, how it is operating when it comes to deliver that message. The second aspect that they think should be focused on is, the technology. What kind of technology is used? What kind of medium is used? Is it electronic medium? Is it print medium? If it is electronic medium, is it traditional electronic medium? Within that, is it only related to audio, that is, for example, radio, or it is audio visual, for example, television, or it is new media, for example, the current social media, etc. And the third aspect they think should be focused by the sociolinguists is the social context in which these two things are used, the medium and the message, both that are used in a particular context. So the social context is important. What is the structure of the society? What are the ideological aspects of that society? What is the deviance, the social class deviance, for example, in the society, and how other variables, for example, age, gender, class, ethnicity, education, etc., are, playing their role in that particular social context. So, according to them, these three aspects of the new media explorations in sociolinguistics show up repeated in the literature along with other more specific technologies and practices. If we look, according to them, if we look at all the literature, that is all the work that is conducted in sociolinguistics in the recent years, these are the three areas that are focused, along with some specified practices that they have pointed out. For example, as collaboration, that is the collaboration between the senders and the receivers, I would say. The collaboration between, for example, the sellers and the buyers, the customers, the collaboration between, the media, owners or those who operate media operators and the audience, etc. Digitization, the processes of using digital technology for that, and the telecommunication processes. These particular areas are also addressed by different sociolinguists in the recent times when they looked into the issues of the relationship of society with new media or with social media. Well, my dear students, when it comes to the sociolinguistic perspective of social media, it really becomes important to take into consideration variables, different, multiple, I would say, variables operative in multiple societies at these times. One of the variables, for example, that is important in this context is the variable of bilingualism or multilingualism. Each society has more than one languages today. Each speech community uses more than one languages for communication. So how the users of this new media make choices in terms of those languages, and how do they relate their identities, their ethnic identities or their social identities, etc., with particular languages or dialects or various varieties of these dialects when it comes to the use of this new media. This is an important perspective that needs to be considered. There are certain other variables, for example, the existence of this phenomenon of the presence of this phenomenon of globalization works as an important parameter in today's world as well. So, the changing definitions of sociolinguistics and new media are linearly related to certain variables that determine the statistics of the digital society of today. I would say both, electronic media and society, they are going hand in hand in one direction, which determines, the variables of this digital society in which people use social media. Suzanne Herring, 2004, my dear students, characterizes her own work as computer-mediated discourse. So, within sociolinguistics, and in other disciplines that are related to sociolinguistics, different sub-disciplines have emerged and different new terms are introduced with reference to, the studies that are conducted in social media. One of such terms is computer-mediated discourse analysis, and Suzanne Herring's work is in this tradition, in which she says that she organizes around a series of analytical priorities that continue to direct a lot of research in this particular field of the use of social media. These, according to her, include technological variables such as synchronicity, that is the size of the message, buffer, anonymous messaging, where the identity of the sender cannot be traced, persistent of transcript, channels of communication which would include text or audio or video, etc., and then automatic filtering, etc. Another aspect or variable that she points out is of the situational variables, and these variables include participation structures. For example, public participation or private participation, for example, the number of the participants, or one participant as an individual or more participants, etc. It also includes demographics, settings, purpose, topic, tone, norms of participation, and the linguistic code, that is the linguistic choice of a particular language or a dialect for that purpose. This all is a part of the set of situational variables. The next aspect that she talks about is the linguistic variables, which include typography, spelling, word choice, and particular sentence structures. All these choices make difference in the meaning-making process on social media, and they need to be studied from sociolinguistic perspective. The meaning-making process also needs to be studied from the point of view of symbols, words, utterances, and the exchanges that interactants have in any interaction. The next variable she talks about is of interaction, where turn-taking, topic development, use of back channels, for example, while two people are interacting, the use of etc., and the repairs, etc., they count. Social functions that work as variables include identity markers, for example, use of humor and play, face management, what kind of identity you create, etc. In the introduction to his special issue of the Journal of Sociolinguistics, for example, Janis and Roth-Spolus 2006 offers some specific suggestions with regard to all this. According to him, for example, there is a need to challenge exaggerated assumptions about the distinctiveness of these new media language messages. One should be careful that, yes, there are distinctive features, but they are not so distinct as to be completely being different from, or 100% different from language use otherwise. Secondly, the need to move beyond early 90s computer-mediated communications, simplistic characterization of and concern for asynchronous and synchronous technologies. Because of this interactant social media, now there is a need to go, according to him, one step ahead. The third point that he points out is that there is a need in the discipline of sociolinguistics to shift away from an undue emphasis on the linguistic or orthographic features of new media language, and related to this, the new hybrid nature of the new media genre that is being created. So, yes, it needs to be studied. Yes, it needs to be emphasized. However, the emphasis should be balanced so that it does not become undue. And finally, what he asserts is there is a need in sociolinguistics as a discipline to shift from medium-related to more ethnographically grounded, user-related approaches. So, what he asserts is that it should be more grounded into the society.